In 2018, the Panasonic president said to himself in a mirror, "You're not good enough. Your mother loves you, but she doesn't like you. You're not her friend." So like they saw the competition. Sony a7 III was coming out and they're like, man, come on. We have the GH5. Should we go full frame? They did that. As an investigative journalist, I took a look through every release they've had since that moment. Because they said, Micro Four Thirds, we're still there, man. We're gonna release everything. It's not, we're just doing this as well. Is it? Let's compare full frame releases versus Micro Four Thirds from that moment on in the mirror situation with the mother, friendless mother.
All I want is the perfect camera. All I want is the perfect camera.
My goal in today's video is not to bash Micro Four Thirds. I just wanted to compare the releases, see the evidence. What are we dealing with? Is Micro Four Thirds dead, like Tony Northrup said many years ago? Actually, he wasn't the first to say it. It was Digital Rev TV 9 years ago. Then Tony came on 6 years ago. You're late by 3 years. But here it is, February 2019, Panasonic announces we're going full frame. L-mount alliance is upon us. We're here now, man. We've been doing flippy screens. We're gonna remove that. Sorry, I know you're used to a certain thing from us. We were all expecting a GH5 full frame flippy screen. Oh my God. That didn't happen. I don't know why they did that. It was the dumbest move in history. They released basically 3 cameras in a row. No flippy screen. S1H had it, didn't it? It flipped out. It was big and fat. So they released the S1 and the S1R, high megapixel and low megapixel hybrid. They were very good cameras, very big, like bigger than most. It was weird, long bodies, decent. Then the S1H comes and it's video centric and it's doing all kinds of crazy stuff. I forget most of the specs, but it was like 6K, open gate. Don't quote me on any of these specs. But it was like somewhat usable autofocus. They're still in contrast detect for some reason, but like class leading stuff over here. Then they make the S5, which is basically, they shrunk it down, the S1 technology, kind of better, still in contrast detect for some reason. Don't know why. The S5D comes out, that was much later, but that's also like the same camera, but we already have 5 cameras here. Then the S5 II comes out with phase detect finally. Panasonic finally does it. They join the rest of the group. They can autofocus somewhat normally, and they're still like Panasonic stabilization, good times. No, not the best specs you've ever seen, a budget model, but they're here now. Then the S9 comes out. They've managed to now shrink down the S5 II, decently tiny. It was overheating, couldn't run for more than 10 minutes, but now it can. And so it's a viable, tiny option with no viewfinder, so you can't use it for anything but vlogging. And then the last couple releases, S1R2, finally doing like 4K 120, phase detect autofocus, amazing stabilization, open gate, anamorphic stuff, Panasonic color science, dynamic range boosts, fantastic. Then S1 II comes out, slightly better than this at video, but most of the part, same specs. And the S1 IIe is, I don't know what the hell that was. Better than the S5 II. So that's 11 full frame cameras we got over the course of 6 years roughly. I'm not loving those odds. It's like less than 2 a year. Okay, whatever. So you did that. Micro Four Thirds, do you also have 11 cameras? Let's take a gander. Spoiler alert. Not only do we not have 11 cameras, the 7 that we do have are not all very good. So we had the G95. That was actually worse than my G85. It had a bigger 4K crop. You added almost nothing. It was like a, what the hell was that type of release? It did 120 frames HD. Could you autofocus in it? Highly unlikely. Then we got the G100, the literal insult. Panasonic's first camera without IBIS for vlogging. I was like, what the, you gotta be joking. That still irritates me. Thank God we don't have a Mark II of that piece of shit. GH5 II comes out. Was that a firmware update? Did we get a whole heck of a lot? Couple more codecs, not much in there compared to the GH5, still class leading contrast detection. Then we get a GH6, which Panasonic has admitted that this was They already had phase detect in the works. They're building the G9 II and the GH7. The GH6 could have had that, but they chose not to. They chose to release it as is, contrast detect, to make some money. And then it was sneaky. I don't love the morality behind it. They knew phase was coming and they withheld it. Cash grab. And then we get the G9 II. Panasonic finally goes phase detect for Micro Four Thirds. So now everything from the future onward, we're phase detecting our way through life. And it was a decent release. Class leading, not really. It's a full frame sized camera. It's literally the same body as the S5 II. Weird, but with that release, you can finally say Panasonic actually did something. 4K 120, it's like oversampled. We had HD 300 frames per second, like no one's doing that. You couldn't autofocus in it, so it doesn't even count, but it's in there. And so it's like, okay, Panasonic released one camera so far, I would say. The other 4 don't count. Then we got the GH7, which was basically a GH6 with phase detect autofocus. Same almost exactly as the G9 II. It counts as a new camera, but it doesn't do much more. GH6 did 6K 60 frames, same specs, like nothing leapfrogged either. And then we got the G97 with a USB-C port. Like it did nothing. It's still, my G85 is better than it. Less of a 4K crop. Wow. So let's dissect. This one company split off into 2 directions, full frame and Micro Four Thirds. One group seems to be having more fun. They're doing full frame, like first it was contrast detect, then they're like, oh my God, they're inventing things for full frame, whereas Micro Four Thirds seems to just be like, we'll slightly improve this a bit. No lenses are coming, sorry. I mean, the S5 II, for the cost, you're basically a Sony a7 IV, but much cheaper with way better stabe and colors. Like, not bad, pretty good. And then these like S1R2, they have a lot of things that real videographers, not people like me, would appreciate. The waveforms and the shutter angle and all that fun stuff. Anamorphic stabe and in-body de-squeeze. I'll de-squeeze your mom body. If I'm being honest with you, the GH7 specs are actually more exciting to me than any Panasonic full frame camera so far. We have like oversampled 4K 120 and HD 300. Panasonic so far has like 4K 120 with a crop in full frame, and then like HD whatever the hell afterthought bullshit, 240 no autofocus. So like the spec wise, GH7 with Leica glass, kind of better. But there's only like 1-2 real cameras in that time, and I just think they're putting most of their attention into full frame and the glass, everything about that L mount. I think there's just limitations on what a Micro Four Thirds sensor is capable of because of the market demand. It's not there, so no companies, like Sony's not research and developing, how can we make the best Micro Four Thirds sensor to sell to Panasonic? It's just like, okay, we did this. I think there's 100 megapixel Micro Four Thirds. Like, what are we even doing? I want you to take a trip down fantasy lane with me for a second. February 2019, Panasonic announces, we're not going full frame ever. Instead, Micro Four Thirds is the future. We're putting everything we have into. Imagine what we would have right now if it was all Micro Four Thirds stuff. Those 11 cameras would turn into 6 super cameras of Micro Four Thirds capabilities. Little low megapixel, bigger like GH5S type sensor, but stabilized this time with class leading 4K 480 frames per second, HD 1000 frames per second in bursts, phase detect in all modes, because they figured it out and they put all their time into one thing. But instead, we veer off. I'm gonna do this for a bit. Oh, I'm bored. I'm gonna do this now. But the one thing suffers and nothing gets done, and you're scattered. You scattered skittle bitch. Imagine if Panasonic had just focused on like increasing processing power and cooling technology in a Micro Four Thirds sensor, and then like you have all the class leading tech in a small body, and then you keep things tiny and light the way you're no using a full frame body on a Micro Four Thirds that's heavier than my full frame gear. GH7 is heavier than my R5 Mark II. Explain it. You can't. It has a fan in there. Like, I don't care. I'm still waiting for this to overheat. All the like scare tactics of that little overheating bar, I've yet to see it actually overheat. And I've done like 8K 60 in here for those Mac tests. And it's a heat wave right now. I'm sweltering hot. Don't know how I'm even alive. I'm gonna have to wear one of those nipple shirts that Marcus has. The soak selecting, they soak it up, but you can't see it. But I refuse. I look like a dirty scrub with no job, and it's partly true, but imagine the Micro Four Thirds potential. I wouldn't need more. Just like a glass, but you put everything into it. Low megapixel video-centric cameras. Why didn't that happen? What time? I want to move to the timeline where that did happen, because everything is happening in our minds, and we can create it. I'm gonna try to go there now. Genghis Khan is coming. So you abandoned us, Panty Boy. You left us to die. You left us holding heavy Micro Four Thirds bodies in the desert, and we are sweating out, and we're dehydrated and tired. And there's no camels coming to save us, because all the camels are full frame now. And what do we get? Very little. So that sucks, huh? So like, quit your full frame bullshit and return to the promised land. And I'll buy one used one day from a criminal. Thank you for watching. Bitcoin is fun. Subscribe for more videos.